Let me tell you a story. If someone ever gives you a Rolex for free, don't wear it. Alex found it at a flea market. A vintage Rolex. No scratches. Still ticking. The vendor just smiled and said,
"It always finds the right wrist."
At first it was perfect. It never lost a second. But then time started moving. Differently. Alex would blink, and hours passed. Friends said he looked older. He started seeing things in the reflection of the glass. People behind him that weren't there. He tried to take it off, but it wouldn't budge. The skin beneath had turned gray, like it had fused to him. And the hands on the watch, they weren't ticking anymore. They were spinning, fast, backwards. Alex locked it in a drawer, but every morning, it was back on his wrist. Then one night, the ticking stopped. So did his heart. They say the watch now sits on another vendor's table, waiting, still ticking. So tell me, would you put it on? Or are you smart enough to know some things don't measure time, they steal it? Let me tell you a story. If you think Balenciaga is just overpriced fashion, you've never heard about the 2015 Paris show. No press, no logos, no official record of it ever happening. Just a black card, an address, and one chilling line. It's not a brand, it's an invitation. Inside the venue, the air was freezing. Lights flickered overhead. The models didn't walk, they glided. No pupils, no expression. And the final model was wrapped in a long coat made of faces, stitched together. The lights went out. A scream echoed through the darkness. Then, silence. Security claimed everyone was accounted for, but no one remembers leaving. And the next day, Balenciaga launched a new line, inspired by something no one could place. Now, people wear the pieces like they're possessed. They say the red tagged ones are different. Those are the cursed garments, taken from that night, still stitched with souls, desperate to escape. So tell me, did you buy the fashion? Or did the fashion buy you? Comment below and tag someone who still thinks couture is harmless. Let me tell you a story. If you ever find a Hershey bar with no wrapper, don't take a bite. In 1987, Hershey tested a secret formula. No sugar, no label, no public release. It wasn't meant for stores. It was made for an experiment. They called it Batch 77. The chocolate looked normal, but it melted at room temperature, even in sealed vaults. Workers reported headaches, hallucinations. One taster disappeared mid-shift. Only his ID badge was found. Inside a half-eaten bar. The factory was shut down. The batch was buried. Last month, one bar showed up at a flea market in Pennsylvania. The man who bought it hasn't been seen since, but his teeth were mailed back, wrapped in foil. So tell me, if you saw a Hershey bar with no wrapper, no barcode, would you eat it? Or would you leave it before it eats you? Let me tell you a story. If you think the House of Gucci is all about elegance, you don't know the price they've paid. Mark was a young designer, eager to prove himself in the world of fashion. He'd been working for months on a special collection for Gucci. One night, he received an anonymous letter with a sealed envelope. Inside, "Tonight, you'll create something unforgettable." The studio was empty. The lights flickered as Mark worked, sketching the designs. His fingers itched with a strange sensation, as if the paper itself was guiding him. He felt a presence in the room. Turning, he saw nothing, but heard a whisper. "Do it. You know you must." Mark picked up his pen again, and the sketches became darker. Gothic symbols appeared on the designs, symbols that weren't part of the collection. They felt wrong. He tried to erase them, but the symbols only grew more vivid. Suddenly, the floor trembled, and the studio door slammed shut. Mark felt trapped, as if the very walls of Gucci had come alive around him. The next morning, Mark was found in the studio, eyes wide open, staring into nothingness. The sketches he had drawn, they were gone, replaced with a single dress, a black velvet gown with a pattern of eyes sewn into the fabric. Gucci launched it the very next day as the centerpiece of their new line, but those who wore the gown, they disappeared, one by one, vanishing into thin air. The House of Gucci now has a new symbol, a dark eye, watching. So tell me, would you wear the dress or would it wear you? Comment below and share this with someone who thinks fashion is just about looking good. Let me tell you a story. If you ever find a pair of Ray-Bans that seem too perfect to be true, don't put them on. Jake found them in a thrift store. A perfect pair of Ray-Bans, no scratches, no signs of wear. A note inside the case read, "Wear them and see the world as it truly is." He laughed it off and slipped them on. At first, everything was normal. The world seemed clearer, more vibrant. But as Jake walked through the streets, the people around him started to change. They didn't look like people at all. Their eyes were black voids, their faces hollow, their mouths moving in silent screams. He tried to pull the glasses off, but they wouldn't budge. The air grew thick with a low hum. The ground beneath him began to crack. "Take them off," someone whispered behind him. He turned, but no one was there. Jake finally ripped the glasses off, but the world didn't return to normal. The people were still there, watching him, and they weren't smiling. So tell me, if you found the perfect pair of Ray-Bans tonight, would you wear them? Comment below, and send this to someone who thinks nothing can go wrong with a new pair of sunglasses. Let me tell you a story. If Victoria's Secret ever mails you a gift you didn't ask for, don't try it on. Emily woke to a pink box on her doorstep. Inside, an intricate lace set embroidered with her initials in gold. No note, no sender, just the words, "We've been waiting for you." That night, she slipped it on. In the mirror, she saw someone else. Pale skin, hollow eyes, whispering, "You look divine." Emily's reflection reached out, pressing her against the glass. She ripped the lingerie off, heard it snap like bone. A low, hungry laughter filled the room, and she felt cold tendrils coil around her heart. The next morning, her mailbox held another pink box, same lace set. Inside was one photo, Emily asleep, and behind her in the window's reflection, that pale figure, grinning. So tell me, if you got a Victoria's Secret gift in the dark, would you open it? Comment below, and share with someone who loves surprises. Let me tell you a story. If you ever get a Zoom invite at 3:13 a.m., don't join it. Anna was working late, finishing a report from home. Her phone buzzed, an unsolicited Zoom link with no host name, just a meeting ID. The time? 3:13 a.m. She shrugged and clicked, "Join." The screen went black, then flickered to life. Behind the camera, she saw a tunnel carved into rock. Dim headlamps glowed down its length. A lone figure in a dusty miner's suit stepped forward. His helmet light danced across the walls, revealing hundreds of bodies piled in the darkness. He lifted his visor. No face, just a skull still clinging to skin. He whispered her name, though she'd never met him.
"Anna, you're late."
She slammed, "Leave meeting." But the call didn't end. One participant remained. You. So tell me, if you saw a Zoom invite at 3:13 a.m., would you click join? Comment below, and send this to someone who thinks late night calls are harmless.